Last month I watched a friend of mine get laid off. Not from a failing company, from a profitable one. A Fortune 500 firm that had just posted record earnings. His entire department, 12 people, replaced by a system that took about 4 months to build and 3 weeks to deploy. And here's what stuck with me, he said his manager couldn't even look him in the eye during the meeting. Not because there was anything wrong with his work. His performance reviews were excellent. But because everyone in that room knew the same thing. The decision wasn't personal. It wasn't about budget cuts or restructuring or any of the usual corporate euphemisms. It was simpler than that. The math had changed. And the math doesn't care how good you are at your job. Welcome back to Zero Index. I've spent the last 2 months digging into what's actually happening in the job market right now, not the headlines but the numbers underneath them, and what I found is something I think you need to hear. So here's where it gets uncomfortable. We're not talking about some distant future scenario where robots eventually take over. We're talking about right now, this quarter, this fiscal year. McKinsey released a report in late 2023 estimating that by 2030, roughly 30% of hours worked in the US economy could be automated. But that number sounds abstract until you realize what it actually means. That's not 30% of jobs disappearing overnight. It's 30% of what you do every day becoming optional. And companies are very, very good at noticing when something becomes optional. I talked to a hiring manager at a mid-sized tech company who told me something that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. She said they've stopped posting certain roles entirely. Not because they filled them. Because they realized they didn't need them anymore. The work still gets done, it's just absorbed. Partially by remaining staff using new tools, partially by systems that handle what used to require a human decision. And the thing nobody talks about is that this isn't showing up in unemployment numbers yet. Because the jobs aren't vanishing dramatically. They're evaporating quietly. A position here, a department restructure there. Each one looks normal in isolation. Together it's a pattern. Now I want to be honest with you about something. The usual advice you hear about this is almost useless. Learn to code. Become a prompt engineer. Upskill into AI. And look, some of that isn't wrong exactly, but it misses the point entirely. Because the jobs that are actually resistant to automation aren't the ones that require technical skills. They're the ones that require something harder to define and much harder to replicate. I spent 3 weeks researching which roles have seen the least disruption, and the pattern surprised me. It's not about complexity. Some incredibly complex jobs, financial analysis, legal document review, diagnostic imaging, those are getting automated faster than anyone expected. The roles that persist share something different. They require real-time judgment in ambiguous situations with incomplete information where the stakes are social or physical. That's a mouthful, so let me make it concrete. A nurse making a call about a patient who's anxious in a way that doesn't quite fit the chart. A construction foreman noticing that something feels off about how a wall is settling. A therapist recognizing that what a client isn't saying matters more than what they are. These jobs involve pattern recognition that depends on physical presence, emotional attunement, or judgment calls where being wrong has immediate human consequences. And here's the thing, that's not about being high-skilled or low-skilled. It's about being high-stakes and high-context. So what does this mean for you? It means the question isn't whether your job requires thinking. All jobs require thinking. The question is whether your thinking happens in a context that's legible to a machine. If your work can be fully described by the inputs you receive and the outputs you produce, that's a warning sign. If your work depends on things that can't be transmitted through a screen or summarized in a dataset, that's your moat. Okay, so here's where most people stop, and that's a mistake. Because knowing what's resistant to automation isn't the same as knowing what to actually do about it. And the honest truth is that most of us can't just switch careers overnight. You have bills. You have obligations. You have skills you've spent years developing. So let me tell you what I've seen actually work. The people who are navigating this well aren't the ones running away from AI. They're the ones running toward a very specific use of it. They're becoming force multipliers. I met a freelance copywriter last month who told me her income doubled this year. Not because she's working more hours. Because she's using Claude and GPT-4 to handle first drafts, research synthesis, and revision passes, while she focuses exclusively on the parts clients actually pay premium rates for. The strategy, the tone calibration, the stuff that requires understanding the client's business better than they do. She said something that stuck with me. She said, I stopped selling my time and started selling my judgment. And judgment scales differently than ours. This works across more fields than you'd expect. I talked to a financial advisor who uses AI to generate initial portfolio analyses in minutes instead of hours, then spends that reclaimed time actually talking to clients, building relationships, catching things the models miss. A recruiter who automates candidate screening so she can focus on the final interviews and offer negotiations where human red matters. The pattern is the same. Offload the legible work. Protect and expand the illegible work. Become the person who interprets what the tools produce, not the person whose work the tools produce. But I need to tell you about the trap here, because it's subtle and it's dangerous. The trap is thinking you can just add AI to your current job and call it a day. That you can bolt new tools onto old workflows and somehow stay ahead. Because here's what's actually happening. When you use AI to become 30% more productive at your current role, your company sees that. And their next thought isn't, oh good, we can pay this person 30% more. Their next thought is, oh good, we need fewer of these people. I saw a stat from a Challenger Gray report earlier this year that made my stomach drop. In May 2024, U.S. employers explicitly cited AI as the reason for nearly 4,000 job cuts. And that's just the ones who said it out loud. Most companies don't announce these things. They just don't backfill positions. They quietly raise quotas. They let attrition do the work. So what does this mean for you? It means productivity gains alone aren't a protection. They're actually an accelerant. You don't want to be the person who's really efficient at a job that's becoming unnecessary. You want to be the person doing work that becomes more valuable as everything else gets automated. So here's my actual advice, the thing I'd tell a friend over a drink if they asked me what to do. First, audit your own role with brutal honesty. Not what your job title says. What you actually do every day, hour by hour. Which parts could be described clearly enough that a system could do them? Which parts require context, presence, judgment, relationships, things that exist outside the inputs and outputs? That's where you should be spending your time. That's what you should be building toward. Second, stop thinking about job security and start thinking about skill portability. The safest career isn't one where your current employer needs you. It's one where many employers need something you know how to do, and that something isn't easily replicated. Specificity is your friend here. Being generally competent is increasingly worthless. Being specifically valuable in a particular context, that's durable. And third, and this is the one nobody wants to hear, start now. Not next quarter, not after your next performance review, not when things feel more stable. The people who adapt in time are the ones who adapted before they had to. I've seen it. The friends who are doing well right now aren't smarter than the ones who aren't. They just started asking these questions 18 months earlier. The ground is shifting whether we want it to or not. But shifting ground isn't the same as collapsing ground. There's a path through this. It just requires being honest about what's coming, and being serious about positioning yourself for what's left. If this was useful, subscribe. I'll be going deeper on specific industries and strategies in upcoming videos, and I'd rather you hear it from me than figure it out the hard way.